humans, how's it going? It's Shani today here, and welcome to my recommendations for the 100 Baby Challenge, which packs you should be using, which little game exploits and workarounds work to your advantage. All of these tips and tricks are field tested by yours truly. So let's get started with the packs that you're going to need. There are 2 tiers for this. Obviously, it would be nice to have all the packs just because you have all of the nice stuff and all of those other amazing things. But more importantly, there are some packs that just stand head and shoulders above the others with making the Baby Challenge easier for yourself. The packs that you're going to need are Tiny Living, City Living, Parenthood. Those are non-negotiables. You need those to make your Baby Challenge easier. Optional extras are Get to Work, Get Together, and Discover University. I will talk about why all 6 of those packs are absolutely imperative to my baby challenges, but for now, let's jump into setting up your house. So you're probably thinking, cool, I'm gonna get started in a normal starter home, and off I'm gonna go to the closest bar or park or restaurant or whatever to try and find myself a baby daddy or a bunch of baby daddies, and then carry on with my life. Stop doing this. No. If you want to get through this baby challenge as quickly and easily as possible, as pain-free possible as well, you're going to want to live in a tiny home. Now, I know not everyone wants to live in a tiny home. They're small, they're compact, especially if you're living in a micro home, which is 32 tiles. A reminder for those of you who might not be as familiar with your tiny home tiers, there are 3 tiers. You've got your tier 1 micro home, your tier 2 tiny home, and then your tier 3 small home. You want to avoid the small home and you want to avoid a normal residential home. You want to be in a tiny or in a micro home. Micro home, of course, has less bills, double the romance, double the gardening. Everyone's happy all the time. Skills increase, double the standard rates, and of course cozy comforts. Everything's really nice. Tier 2, you kind of have half of the same, but the main important thing here, of course, half bills are great, especially when you're starting off and you don't have a lot of funding and you have to deal with babies needing you the entire time. The skills increase at a double standard rate. You want that. So you either want to be in a micro home or a tiny home. But Shani, why have you brought us into a home that doesn't seem to be like it's a micro home? Because it's huge. Well, that's because I used a tiny living exploit, because it's in the game, it's not breaking the rules. But more importantly, I have done a full tutorial breakdown on how to use this tiny living exploit, which is a video that can be found in the cards or in the description. But basically, this is the 3rd home from my 100 Baby Challenge. This is the home that we had on Leyline on, and honestly, I had the best time in this house. Yes, it is only a 32 tile home, but it functions exactly the same as a normal home. It is available on the gallery. You just need to search hashtag Shani100Baby. And you can download this lot. It has everything that you could ever need, and I'll get into the items that I really do recommend you use. But I just wanted to show you that you can be living the lifestyles of the rich and the fabulous without needing to live in a cardboard box of a tiny 32 tile home. You can just fake it and pretend that you're in a 32 tile home, get all of the skills benefits, but also be living in a very, very luxurious, spacious home. And if you don't want to stick to breaking the rules and using game exploits, then that's perfectly fine as well. I've proven that it is very possible to live in a tiny home as well, and I'm going to take you into the very first home that I used for my 200 Baby Challenge, which was actually really 64 tiles. Some of my children had to sleep outside in tents, but that's not my problem. Oh, humble beginnings. Back in the very, very, very beginning of my baby challenge, where I'm trying to have as many children with one mother as possible in one lifetime, because honestly, the Sims mechanic of not aging while pregnant is just broken. It's beyond broken. But here's my 64 tile home. We had the very bare necessities. Obviously, if you are planning on exiling your children to sleeping outside at night, you will need a pack over and above the packs I've already said that you're going to need for this challenge to be able to let them sleep outside. So either outdoor retreat, snowy escape, Star Wars I think also comes with one. So whichever packs, they'll be listed on the screen right now, whichever packs come with an additional tent. If you're planning on banishing your children to the outdoor backyard situation and have your beautiful little toddlers sleeping very sweet and soundly inside, then go for it. As I mentioned, that video on the tutorial on how to get the tiny living hack to work for yourself in detail is in the description below or in the cards. What about the lot traits? Now here is where some baby challengers might differ, and this is where the different packs come in handy. So firstly, The very first trait that you're going to want to have is child's play. Kids just seem to learn faster here. If you want your kids to learn at an accelerated rate over and above the tiny living boost, you're going to want to have child's play enabled. Be careful and be warned. If you have Sims that have the childish trait over and above all of the other additional happy moodlet boosts that they get, they are at risk of becoming hysterical, which of course with hysteria comes death. So you have been warned. Try not have your matriarch have the childish traits. That's all I'm gonna say, because they will be playful based off of the child's play lot traits. If you have any additional boosts that you tend up having with a tiny home and everything else in between, you might end up with a dead Sim on your hands from hysteria. So you have been warned. The next trait that I personally think you're going to need is a good schools. The local school is great. Kids seem to get high grades and usually do better at homework. If you want those teenagers out of your house as quickly as possible, the second they become teenagers and the first day that they go to high school and they come home as an A student, you want good schools as your trait. You desperately want good schools as your trait. So this next trait is where differences of opinions will come into play. On Leyline, full of funky fertile earth energy, twins are born here more often than not. Personally, I don't play with on Leyline. On Leyline is really great if you want to have a lot of babies really quickly and twins and triplets. But the problem with that is your household will get full very quickly and then your matriarch can't get pregnant anymore because of the 8 Sim house cap. Now, if you're not so worried about having the challenge span over multiple generations and the matriarch aging isn't too big of a deal for you, go ahead, have on Leyline. Just be warned that your household is going to be a lot busier and a lot more full and a lot more to handle than if you're not playing with on Leyline. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, it's just not personally suited to my playstyle. If you're not looking to play with on Leyline, my recommendation would be Study Spot, which comes from Discover University, which reads, a great place to enhance one's mind in pursuit of higher education. Not only will Sims complete their homework faster, but they can study longer without getting mentally exhausted. They'll also enjoy a slight bonus to all skill building. Personally, this is how I play my baby challenge. They do their homework quicker, they don't get mentally exhausted as quickly. And honestly, I don't have to deal with 5 million twins and triplets all at once. Obviously, my matriarch will have the fertile trait that is a rewards trait, but this is how I play. I don't play with any challenges necessarily, but child's play, good schools, study spot, but the optional on Leyline if you want to have study spot replaced. Also, if you just don't have Discover University, but you do have city living, then cool, that'll work out for you. It all comes down to playstyle and whether you're not worried about your matriarch aging or not. Let's move on to items, and I'm going to start with why Parenthood is such a rad pack to introduce. Parenthood will introduce these school projects, which granted they do tend to come home with on the rare occasion from school, and they get to do them for extra credit, but you can also just buy them from the buy mode. They're $100. It's fine, because then when the child ends up completing the project, unless you're the sentimental type and you want to hang on to the projects, you can just sell them for $80 a pop. It's no big deal. But you can buy a whole bunch of these and have your children complete them to increase their grades quicker. But also it comes in super handy for children and teenagers to learn their various skills that they need for the different grade requirements. Level 4 of a skill for a child to get to an A student, or level 3 of a skill for a teenager to get to an A student. Over and above that, it also is a very quick way to work on a responsibility character value, which if you do have Parenthood installed, does form part of your rules, as you'll need to have a character value either in the red or in the green. Ideally in the green, because it means they're going to be a better person in life. But these projects are honestly a fantastic way to work on skills, work on responsibility, but then also give your Sims a performance boost at school. The next thing that I honestly cannot live without is what I refer to on stream as the Baby Feeder 9000, and this is why Get to Work is so important. There's two. There's the very cute one, and then there's the very not so cute one. But basically what these allow you to do is allow you to never have to worry about a toddler ever going hungry ever. As long as you keep the fridge stocked, the children can help themselves. No longer having to deal with high chairs. Never, ever, 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 ever place a high chair in your baby challenge. They are an absolute waste of time. Oh, but it's fine, I'll just drag food from the fridge. You don't have to drag anything here. The kid can help itself. As long as you keep this fridge stocked, the children can help themselves. If they're spontaneously waking up because they're hungry, they will autonomously go and get food. Next thing you're going to need, you have toddlers in the house, you're going to need nesting blocks. You will need to get to level 2 of the thinking skill with your toddlers via other means, so either having them mess around in counters or having them look at flashcards or watching other Sims or whatever the case is, or using the Wabba tablets. But as soon as they get to thinking level 2, I move them over to the blocks and let them continue with the shapes. So very fast, very quick, very easy way to up their skills. This also does work on movements, which is really fantastic. You also are going to want some form of blarfy for socials, because with the tiny living buffs and everything else going on, seriously, as soon as the child ages up from a infant to a toddler, a couple of babbles to a blarfy will have you at communication level 3 in no time. A dollhouse for imagination, and also just because it's cute. It's a very big object, and I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments saying, with toddlers, why don't you just invest in a Wabba tablet and be done with it? That's cool and that's fine, but if you want a varied existence for your children rather than just having them glued to a screen, sound familiar, then have them work on their movements and their thinking via this. Start off with thinking on the Wabba tablets and move them over to the blocks. You work on their communication with Blarfy. This will also help their attention. Work on the imagination together with older children. And that ends up working out great for everybody. Yes, the toy boxes are nice, but honestly, they're just such a pain. As a bonus extra, if you do want to invest in some stuff packs, the toddler pack does have this ball pit, which is really great for movement. But if you don't want the ball pit, then the slide is also great, but this is a bonus value extra. The animation for the ball pits is probably one of the cutest things in The Sims. As for toddler beds, they're very stock standard. There's nothing really great about them. You only start getting the discomfort relief and stress relief with the eco living bed. So I personally try and use these as much as possible, but that's because I have all of the packs. So if you are looking to splurge additionally over and above the 6 packs I have already mentioned, this is a nice value add and a nice value extra in the fact that there is stress relief and discomfort relief. But apart from that, it's not really anything major going on in the toddler department. Otherwise, you will need a potty to keep them potty trained. I haven't really seen any difference between the various potties. It's just get them to level 3 as quickly as possible, or hope that you get independent babies so they can potty train themselves. Look at me. Don't do it. Junior Wizard Starter Kit. Fire Hazard. Fire Hazard. Great for mental skill. Also great for starting fires. Don't do it. Instead, get your sim a activity table, which will come with Parenthood, which you will have access to given that you can have the project. So activity table is a lot of fun, but if they are already working on the school assignments, you won't necessarily need an activity table. That's more for fun. So I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey as well, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a story time. But before bunk beds were added, there was a way to try and save space in terms of your children's beds, which meant that you could scale down the beds, which would still function and they would still be viable for your Sims to sleep in. The animation just looked a little bit different and a little bit weird, but it would allow you to fit more beds into a smaller space. But now that bunk beds are here, it's not really that much of a problem. So if you don't want to have bunk beds, you can scale the bed down as fraction just so that you can fit more into one room and have your Sims be kind of glitching out the bed a little bit awkwardly. But we've been given bunk beds. Save everyone the humiliation and just give them bunk beds. Honestly, it's a base you can fit 4 children in one very tiny room now very easily. Regarding bathrooms, this also comes down to your playstyle. There are 2 options. You can either have 1 bathroom per each bedroom in the house. That's how I usually like to work it. So if there's a master bedroom, they'll have a master bath. If the teenagers have a bedroom, they'll have a teenager bathroom, etc, etc. Especially if your house is very busy and playing with online especially. The more bathrooms you have, the better. So I usually gauge it as 1 bathroom per bedroom. Or if you want to go the other way and you have invested in the Discover University pack, then I would recommend getting a whole bunch of bathroom stalls and just making a literal college dorm bathroom. And then you can also make little shower cubicles, which is really great. And it ends up working out for everybody involved because then you can have bulk bathrooms, not worry about anyone being embarrassed by anyone else, because bathroom stalls and these college showers. But that, of course, is if you have Discovery University. Something else, especially in the very beginning, that you're going to want to focus on is making as much money as you physically can. And I know 1,200 simoleons seems ludicrous to spend on a bin, but trust me, this bin ends up paying for itself and then some at the end of the day, because anything that you throw in here, anything that your Sims discard in here, anything will be turned back into money. So honestly, it's just going to make you money in the long run. Gardening is an absolute gold mine. With the addition of city living and the various festivals, I know it takes you away from your household for a little bit, but things like the Romance Festival and the Spice Festival will have additional plants that you can go harvest. And the Romance Festival especially has very expensive plants that you can plant yourself and then absolutely go ham. That's how I made all of my money in my baby challenge before baby 50 was born, and I can sit back and relax and enjoy the rest of the fruits of my labor now, because I've sold more than enough plants to make up for it. So I'm going to load into my baby challenge quickly just to show you some of the live mode features, but I've touched on why you need city living, tiny living, get to work, parenthood, and Discover University, and those optional extras that we discussed. But I'm going to show you why get together is such an important part of a baby challenge. Why are we here? Lacey? Do you have something to... Why are you here? Which boyfriend were you visiting without my permission? Huh. But I'm going to explain the beauty of your clubs. Now, clubs are something that came with Get Together, which is the only reason you're going to need the Get Together pack. Apart from having amazing additional townies to use as baby daddies and donors, you can create clubs. So I currently have 3 groups. The old age home, that's got nothing to do with this video, but the baby daddies group, I go into the world, I meet prospective donors, and if they meet the requirements I'm playing to in my rule set, I add them to the group should there be space. This basically allows me to ensure that I've got a revolving door of baby donors at my disposal should I need to get someone on the phone and be like, hey, I need the baby daddy, please and thank you. I then have what I refer to as the get to the house right now. I've seen other people call it bangarang. Whatever the case is, this is your current baby daddy. So these are future baby daddies and potentials, and then you have your current baby daddy, your current donor. What you're going to do here is you're going to set this to ensure that a club activity is woohooing. This will ensure that you don't have to have romance with the Sims. You can just woohoo straight off the break and start your gathering, do the woohoos, and be done with your life. That's pretty much everything with regards to a baby challenge to have it run as smoothly and as seamlessly as possible. But there's one additional tiny little thing that I do with my baby challenges, and I know a lot of other baby challengers do as well. Welcome to how I keep track of my baby challenge on stream. This is where I keep track of which baby number I'm on, the total of boys, total of girls, who were twins, who were triplets, who were the baby daddies, particularly useful when making sure that I don't have a double repeat of a donor. I keep track of their sim states or their life states, their traits, and all of the different varying variables that may present themselves with this baby challenge. But that's going to be the video. I hope you found this useful. I really do. If you have additional tricks or tips or advice that you would share or advice that you would like to share with other baby challengers, let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, as always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here. Remember that we're all human differently, and I'll see you guys again soon. Dag dag.